Hello, folks. Reverend Crystal Cox here. I want to remind you today about who you owe responsibility to, okay? And again, I'm never talking about your sacred contracts with children, but who do you owe responsibility to? Yourself. People are like, oh, you're being irresponsible. Well, because you don't work for the man or live in their system, or because you don't get the medicine they tell you, because you get the further away you get from the living God and divinity, the more responsible you are, right? The responsibility you have is to yourself. You are a creator God, and in every moment you're creating reality by your thoughts, okay? You are projecting reality right this moment. Okay, you're looking at me or listening to me, and whatever thoughts are going on in your mind, that's creating a frequency in your body that draws to you the reality that becomes the life you live. Okay? We're a hologram. Cleaning anything toxic out there among all of you. Okay, so when someone's like, you need to be responsible. Okay, what do I need to be responsible? Well, here's a list of things that I think are responsible. All right? Your responsibility is to yourself. If you're doing anything in your life where you're pretending to be someone you're not, that's irresponsible. Okay, you're creating realities for other people. Oh, I want you to be comfortable with me, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be your version of me around you, and then be my version of me with myself, okay? But what if it's your job, or it's the majority of the time, and then you're creating more of that coming to you? So if you got people around you telling you need to be more responsible, you definitely need to be more responsible. You need to get those people out of your life, first of all, and find a reality that feels good to you. And you find that first in your mind. And the biggest challenge for a lot of people is to first stop kicking your own ass, right? Stop feeding that part of you that wants to defeat you. The part of you says you need to be more responsible. You know, that movement of get a haircut and get a real job, right? And get jobs, okay? The same pack of energy, we'll just call it out there, that says you need to get a job, you're responsible, you need to be responsible with your health, you need to be responsible here and that. They're so far away from God and divinity, right? And they're worshiping a man-made money system, okay? And they're fine with your country giving hundreds of billions of dollars to other countries, okay? Your neighbor's fine with that. But if you don't work, okay, and you get some sort of money from all of that energy, okay, then you're irresponsible, okay? You're a derelict, you're a loser, and they all attack you, okay? People are so freaked out, like always, but the pandemic's brought even more of it out for them to be like, really upset with homeless people. They're really upset with people who got unemployment and they didn't. They're really upset with the thinking of their student loan might be paid and mine wasn't. They're really in the system of how money works and how what the definition of success is, right? And they think if they get a home and they got a degree and they got all this, they're successful, okay? Well, that's the case. Did it by 20, okay? I did all that. Had my own real estate company, was a millionaire in my 20s, done, okay? Unsuccessful, okay? Completely abandoned myself, my truth, what I really wanted to do with my life, okay? Please the people around me, please my partner, please the public. Oh, what can I do to serve you? What can I do to compromise my truth today and be who you need me to be? I had someone tell me not too long ago that not a very nice way, it's kind of chewing me out online, saying I glorified being homeless and that she was paying for the homeless. And she's like, and you know, you think about it, I'm going to direct it to, as if you're her. How do you pay for me to be homeless? You think your tax dollars go to me to be homeless? Okay? I've never had a life before. I've never paid into the system. I've never been part of any of that. You have no issue with billions going to other countries. Okay? But you think somehow you help me? What? Because I use the public garbages? I use private businesses' bathrooms? Or state parks to shower sometimes? You're paying for that? No, their insecurity and their fear makes them vicious at the homeless. And so when she said I glorified it, oh, Lordy, do I glorify it. I will not work with someone who doesn't understand what it's like to be homeless. I won't embrace someone into my church and what I'm doing if they don't understand that dark night of the soul and understand who they are? Do I give glory to God? Do I give glory to the homeless? I certainly do. I checked in with myself and my God, and I said, do I glorify being homeless? And you bet I do. Okay? If you do not know what it's like to not have a home and all these, well, okay, we got electricity should be free, right? They keep you captive with that. We're going to put this in a wire, okay? You got to pay for your water. You got to pay for if you're not paying for all their stuff and in their matrix, you're not successful and you're bad. And somehow they're supporting you, okay? You're out there staring at the peach for years, okay? Okay? You're either getting food from wherever you're getting it from, okay? They think that if you get a food card that they're paying for it, okay? You've never paid into it. You're nothing. They're paying for it, okay? That's what they think, okay? And so when she said, do I glorify being homeless? I certainly do, okay? To know that intimacy with the land and with the elements, to know who you are completely outside of the system. Man, if I'd have known that I could live in a car in my 20s, I would have never been in a bad relationship, right? I wouldn't have stayed somewhere too long because I didn't have anywhere to live because I didn't know I could be homeless. I didn't know that you could live in a car, okay? If you live in a car, you're paying for the car, you own the car. You rent a place, okay? You don't own it. You're paying on it, right? Somehow they think if you're homeless, you're all these things, okay? You're druggies, you've got anger issues, you got mental health issues because they can see you. They can see you take things out of your car. They can see you, if something gets wet and you put stuff on the car, they can see it. So they're all unnerved, okay? They're all doing it, and drugs and alcohol and all kinds of nefarious and, domestic violence and all kinds of toxic things. But they're in their house, so that's okay, all right? When you run across people living out loud, real human life, it's scary, right? And so people don't just fall out of the matrix and then start shooting up heroin, okay? Some people become homeless because they were addicts, maybe, okay? But the system uses homeless people as a commodity, okay? They make money from them. They get buildings, they get mental health facilities, they get tons of money, which is completely ridiculous and irrelevant, and they don't use it to help the homeless. They use it to drive them crazy, okay? To stalk them, to harass them, to gaslight them. You can go down and get $70,000 in heart medicine or heart tests or even heart surgeries, hundreds of thousands, okay? And that your insurance will pay for it, but they won't. But then you go back to your tent, okay? The system is built to keep the system going. So if you're homeless, you're outside of the matrix, okay? So when you go back in, you have to fill out all this paperwork, okay? And we got to do blood tests and urine tests. We got to see what you're taking. You can't talk to this person. You can't talk to that person. We got to have your resume. We got to have all this paperwork. Most people are homeless, like myself, to get out of the matrix and to be one with the living God, not to go in and fill out all your paperwork and all your nonsense in your man-made world. So you betcha I glorify the homeless because they are the closest thing to the living God. You and your jobs and your illusions of grandeur of what success is completely irrelevant to me because I know the living God. I know death. I have nearly froze to death. I know the feeling and I'm not complaining. I already knew Jesus. I knew my guides and spirits and I had communicated with this holy divine energy my whole life. But I did not know the glory of God until I lived in a car, until the elements became my intimacy. The wind moved me, the quiet, the noises that would freak the tourists out that were the wind. The seagulls, the heron, the beautiful moments on the dock where the heron's walking. Okay? The eagles coming up over you, the whales, okay? The rocks communicating with me, the land and the water. All those things you miss when you are successful, right? Because you got your job, and you got school, and you got soccer, and you got all these things that don't mean anything. They're just, hey, maybe if they mean something to you, some of them they might. But I certainly do glorify homeless because I glorify the living God, which is I. I am the I am. Okay? When you are homeless and you are not distracted by everything out there, you're closer to Mother Earth. If you have a pet, you're closer to that pet. Okay? You know the bond with animals more than people in houses, okay, who leave them all the time. All right? So I do glorify being homeless. And anything I do or create in the future that will be a prerequisite, having known what it's like to be homeless. Because homeless means you're in the natural law of the living God. Okay, you don't own your home. Okay, I don't care who you are. You don't own it. Okay, the tax man comes and says you don't pay. Okay, they take your money, they take your taxes, they jail you, they license you, they govern. Okay, why bother? Right? Why bother making $1 million when they're going to take 400,000? Right? It's ridiculous. Okay, but these people that think that they're better than me because I lived in a car, because they live indoors, so they could be renting, they could owe a big mortgage, they could be miserable, they could be on tons of prescription drugs and drinking wine all night, every night, and whatever. And those homeless people, they're drunk and they're on drugs and they're bad and they're, but really, they're with themselves. Okay? And I'm not talking about the people that live at the shelter, because that's a whole other mental health issue that becomes from being at the shelter. The shelter does it to you. And more on that another day. But people who live in the car, they know how to be alone. They have time with their thoughts. They're often writers and, musicians and artists. Okay, they don't want to be part of the matrix, okay? But in order to get the basic things, like just to be warm, okay, just the basics, you got to fill out all this. I promise to be good, and I will check in every day, and you can check my pee, and you can check my nose hairs and stuff, and everything. I will do everything you say, master, so that I can get housing, okay? That is completely irresponsible. It is ridiculous. I don't glorify that system at all, okay? A local nonprofit getting $7 million a year to help the homeless. They had this position called the navigator that went out and, so you're homeless, huh? Yeah, how's it going, man? Right? Nothing. Do you know what I could do in a year for $100,000 for the quality of life of how many people I could do it for? But they paid wages to one man to go out there and be better than that. Well, what do you need? What do you need? Looks like you got a little trouble here. What do you need? We need your fucking salary, jackass. How about that? Excuse my language, okay? They don't mind paying for all these people as long as you're working. You got to be out there working, okay? You got to get you a real job, okay? In the matrix, okay? If you're creating money or art or something outside of the matrix, the people that want to hold the matrix up, they get, okay, we're paying for you. You're glorifying being homeless. You damn right I am, lady. And I'm glorifying the living God that is in the homeless every day. They are focused on their meal, their warmth. They are one with the elements. Okay, and I'm not talking all of them. Some of them got their things. If they're aggressive or violent or shooting up heroin in the streets, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the majority of the homeless people that you judge, okay, and that you think I'm glorifying. You're darn right I'm glorifying them, okay? You don't know how to be alone. You're so scared you're going to be homeless that you vilify homelessness, okay? You want to take away their rights. You live in your house. It's okay if you fall asleep at the bus stop. But if you don't, you're going to get a criminal trespass, okay? It's about seeing people as people. It's so funny to me when people say, that homeless guy, he just started playing the piano. Woo! Like he just sprouted right up out of the ground and started playing, right? They don't see us as having any sort of life before we lived in a car on the street, okay? We don't exist to them, okay? So this goes with the theme of being responsible for yourself, because you create your own reality, okay? Some of the homeless give up on their success of being homeless, and they give up and they go back to the matrix, okay, for various reasons, okay? But you wonder why homeless stay homeless. Well, first of all, the people aren't helping them, okay? And they're taking all the grant money, and they don't let other nonprofits such as mine that will actually help people get the money. They're using the money for their wages and their buildings and their land grabs, okay? They're not helping people, okay? That would be easy. But they sure are hurting them and hating them and vilifying them and turning the community members against them, because they're prosecuting the craziest things and not prosecuting the violent things. Okay? And it's all to whip up, to hold up their false matrix. So your responsibility is in your own mind to yourself. Every thought creates reality. You don't know if it's your belief or your thought or what's going on. Okay? You're constantly dealing with stuff. And living in houses does that, right? There's so many little chores in a day. Okay? But if you live in a car, you wake up and there you are. Okay? You move to another spot. You sleep. You dream. You walk the beaches. The astral plane is amazing, okay? the wind the moisture on the wind is so satiating for a deep down thirst that I didn't even know that I had. Okay, so you betcha, excuse me, you betcha I glorify the homeless. Okay, if you can live in a car all by yourself, you don't have much money at all, you're able to stay warm and find food and keep your sanity and not get taken by their system. And what does that mean? Oh, I'm stressed out, I don't feel good. Okay, yes, finally, we've got them in to admit that they're all messed up. All right, well, here's 3 different kinds of depressants. Here's some heart medicines. Come every week to this appointment. Just pay all this money to the system. But I just like to have a shed or something to sleep indoors. Oh, no. You're all messed up. Okay, so we're going to give you all these pills and all these things that cost zillions of dollars instead of giving you just this one thing you need, which is a little bit of privacy. Okay. Housing with no entry. Okay. So this video is just really about knowing your own mind and creating your reality, but understanding that I'm mixing in homeless because that's the true nature of society. Okay. And each person is an individual person. Individual reasons for being homeless. I don't look at someone that's homeless and go, oh, they're bad, they're horrible. Oh, this person has a valuable thing to say because they live in a house. No, it's not true. Okay, your savants, your psychics, your seers. Some get diagnosed as schizophrenia because they are mediums and channels and psychics and healers. Okay, they don't want to be part of the matrix. They can see through it, but the matrix, the system keeps coming at them and at them. You got to do this. You got to do that. Look, I just want a sandwich. Okay, you want a sandwich? Okay, fill out all these papers. Let's do a urine test. You can't have any visitors. Okay, here's what we're going to do to you here. You're going to completely consume you just for a sandwich. Well, I'd much rather get one out of the garbage. Thank you very much. Okay, we left the matrix for a reason, and I darn well do call that success. So if you're one of those folks who think I glorify being homeless, I do. Okay. I give glory to the power of the living God in every moment of creating of reality. You are not projecting your reality and creating it consciously if you are consumed by the matrix, consumed by your job, consumed by what other people think. Oh, here's the school. Oh, the teacher says this. Oh, this kid's dad said that. Oh, this is school. That's the matrix consuming you. But when you live in a car, they don't exist. You don't live in linear time. Okay, their matrix starts to evaporate. And when you come back into it to try to be in their world to get housing or whatever, you're like, what? They're still doing this stuff? Right? When we know the glory of the living God. Okay, we know death. We know that there is no such thing as death. We know that we cross over to consciousness. We've astro traveled. We've levitated. We've let go of all the earthly things. And you demonize us as we're the less than. We're the irresponsible. We're the not successful. The homeless people are the absolute most successful people in society. They know themselves. They know their heart. They know how to survive off the land. They're connected to their pets and their people stronger than the people caught up in the matrix. Okay, and this doesn't mean all of them, doesn't mean all the people in the matrix. Okay, but this let's get good grades in school and let's go to college and let's pay all this money and let's be in their system of fuckery. Okay, where they teach you not to learn. I hated college. Okay. Like forestry college, they teach me 10 plants for the forest floor. I learned 200 and wrote a book on it, okay? I found school just holding back the reins, right? I wanted to learn. And I had to hold it back to dumb down to be part of their system. And then they call it ADHD or whatever. You're looking out the window, right? Oh, you're spacing out. Yeah, and I can still recite everything you said in 4,000 times more. Okay, so you're dumbing everybody down by putting them in the schools. Okay, well, if they were interested in learning something, there's thousands of videos and documents and books and people that are doing it that you could talk to. But sitting in a closet room dumbing down is not the way to learn, okay? Hated it. Okay, so I'm not a fan really of much of any classes because they don't move fast enough, okay? Maybe quantum, right? Because I like to grab this information and study this, and when I'm writing, I'll bring up 16 different windows because if I'm writing a poem or a story or something, then I got another one that comes in, another one, and another one. And when I'm researching stuff, I just keep a whole bunch of windows open on the computer, not in the house, and I just kind of go from each one. So anyway, I digressed there. So let's do another clearing the energy of the people that demonize homelessness, because You betcha. I, Reverend Crystal Cox, absolutely glorify being homeless. Okay? If you've never been homeless, you don't get it. Okay? Now, there's exceptions out there. There's people who have had other experiences of dark night of the souls and understand that level of life and death. But if you've never experienced a lifestyle where you're completely vulnerable and you're completely on survival and you don't have friends or family or anybody stepping up to help you, you're just there, and you're like my first couple years, I didn't even have a phone, right? So it's just this thing of just looking out at the horizon and letting, watching the buoys move and watching the ducks get clean themselves for hours, just the motion, the things that I never would have saw if I hadn't lived in a car. Okay, how the crows, yes, they remember, a lot of us know that, but they would come and talk to me every day, right? And watching them take snacks and hide them, and watching people and weddings and just everything that goes on in society, and bearing witness to so much that I would not have known had I not experienced living in a car. Okay, and I don't really want to do any projects moving forward to people who don't know that, because to me it's a success. To me it's a strength to know how that is, because that's primal. And so the people that berate me and put me down and say that I glorify being homeless because I'm defending the homeless and standing up for them illegally, criminally trespassing them, just trying to get some sleep, okay? Nothing matters more than someone being warm and sleeping at night. None of your art projects, your $100 an hour, $60 an hour, even $30 an hour cops and park rangers and everybody like, hey, you gotta move, you gotta move, you gotta. I mean, I got $22 an hour being a security guard. I was homeless and I was rousting the homeless. Okay, because that's what they told me to do. Gotta do it, whatever. Nowhere for them to go, no coat. Okay, so they put these big murals in the streets. Okay, they got these art projects. They got so much that they just throw money at. They 100,000 whatever for a city manager, and everybody gets all these wages to keep their system in the matrix going. Okay, they don't really want to help the homeless. Okay, because they actually feel like you need to get a job and you need to go to college and you need to get educated. Right? They're not the dumbest people in society. They're the smartest ones. Okay, they see God. Okay, they see spirits. You hear them talking out loud? Yeah, we do that. We all do it. We just do it in our head. Okay? Communication with entities and energies and psychic abilities and a connection to the land is vilified by these people. A lot of them are afraid they're going to be homeless, but they think that it's a glorious life to spend 8 hours a day or more at work or at a job, barely have time to make dinner and then sleep and then get up and do it all again. And then they got kids and they got soccer games and they got classes and then trying to get the relationship. When you're homeless, you actually have time to have a relationship with yourself, get to know who you are, be responsible to the only person you need to be responsible to, which is yourself. Okay, it's a wonder to me too why the pack of wolves, per se, the authorities go for the peaceful homeless. Okay, they go for the homeless and their dog. They go for the ones sleeping in the cars like me. Okay, well, meanwhile, the ones that are beating each other up, shooting each other, shooting up illegal drugs, and doing violent things that are leading to death and horrific things, they ignore them. And here where I live in Port Townsend, there's examples of that dramatically. Okay, and so I think that they can accept that and leave it alone. But the homeless being peaceful and just going about their life unnerves them, because that's not right. They're not paying taxes and they're not doing what we're doing. So, they think that's successful, that I'm going to get a retirement. They've abandoned this responsibility to their true self. They've abandoned their dreams. They've abandoned their writing or their photography or their, going out and go fishing or hanging out in the woods, or their passion, their ability to connect with people passionately. Abandon all that to stay in the matrix. Got to keep up with it, keep up. And those homeless people, they are not successful and they're irresponsible. Okay, and they're all druggies and alcoholics. Okay, which people in houses are not any of that. They don't take any drugs. Okay, so they try to get a hold of you, and if you ask them for help, they're like, well, they give you antidepressants. Okay, they pump you up with their pills and their Western medicine. okay? You can come in, like I said, $100 an hour and talk to a therapist several times a week and go tons of money in drugs and healthcare. Then they send you back out to your tent to die. Come in, treat you for pneumonia, send you back outside. Okay, so and the hospital treatment would be like $5, $10, $20, $75,000. Okay, couldn't use a percentage of that to house them. So this video here, what I want to drive home to you is that your responsibility, when people tell you to be responsible, do it. Get them out of your life, first of all, but be true to you. What do you like? Who are you? Don't fake it, because then you draw more of that. You're like, oh yes, I really like that. And then you'll draw more of that to you. You pretend you're someone you're not to be with someone, okay? That's irresponsible to your true self, okay? Because in your true moment is where the power of the living God is. The living God is the quantum now, the God, the goddess, the quantum computer, the creator God, you having the same power that Jesus Christ had. There's no such thing as time. That living God power is available to you right now. How do you use the living God power? First of all, you got to believe in the power of the living God. I believe in the power of the living God, and I know that in every moment of every day, the power of the living God is with me, creating my reality. I know I am a powerful healer. I know that my life is projected from my own beliefs. Okay, I do not value the systems or the governments or the medicines of man. Okay, I believe in the power of the living God, and I call out to that power every day, and so do you. And we do that by our thoughts and our beliefs. Your focus is your magic wand, creating reality right now. You are the living God. You are the living God. You must first believe that you are the living God and that you have the power of the living God within you. If you don't first believe, you don't create. But you don't be down on yourself. Oh, I was hoping I believe. What helps you to believe? And I know it seems weird, but when you pull that energy up from Mother Earth and you just let it roar. I believe in the power of the living God. Let your voice play. Don't be ashamed of what you sound like or if your voice breaks. Who cares? If they judge you, they're going to judge you anyway. I believe in the power of the living God. I believe in the power of you. You are the living God, and I believe in you. I believe for you, and I believe for me. Oh, I believe in myself, and I don't need your tongue a wagging at me. I don't care what you have to say. Why, Reverend? I have seen the glory of the living God, and I have seen life, and I have experienced death. And I do not await your approval to be myself, because I know the power of the living God. And I work every day with my brother Jesus to bring that power of the living God into my moment and to perfect my Creator God reality. And I wish the same for you. Do you believe in the power of the living God? I believe in the power of the living God. Do you believe in the power of the living God? I believe in you. I love you. Bless you.